Hi guys, if you're new here, hi, my name is Kiki. I'm 62 and I love makeup. I love skincare too, but I really like makeup. My skin's on the dry side. Now, if you're regular, I know I haven't been here in maybe 2 weeks, I haven't even checked. I told you about a month ago there was something going on in my life which is pretty horrible. And it's like a tsunami, and it's taking up all of my time. It really breaks my heart. There's nothing more that I want to do. Go back to shooting 3 times a week and just have regular programming and buy a bunch of stuff, but I'm not able to do that as much as I should like right now. So please be patient with me. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, and I don't know. It might let up a little bit before it ends. It might be in little waves. I appreciate your support, and I just wanted to say it kills me that I can't be here on a more regular basis right now. You can hear Grace chewing her food in the background, right? Grace is my beagle if you're new. So today I am taking a look at another foundation, and this is from One Size. Again, I know I'm a little bit late on this, but I think foundation is so important. To me, you have the right color, you have the right finish, you have the right coverage. You almost don't need anything else, for me personally anyway. I feel that I have a lot of redness that I want to cover, and oftentimes I'm sitting here thinking, ooh, and I haven't been wearing makeup very often lately. Yesterday was the first time I put on foundation easily in a week, maybe longer, and I thought, oh yeah, what a difference for your confidence, if nothing else. I always feel if I have the right color, it's like I hardly need anything else. Do my brows. I could just do my brows and my lips and I'm good to go. And that's why I love foundation so much. Looking for the perfect one. Is this the perfect one? Let's talk about it. But before we do talk about it, let me tell you a little bit more about my skin. I am 62, which is not a skin type. My skin is on the dry side. My whole life it's been very balanced. Yes, I would get oily here, and in high school I was oily, but I'm normal. I've never had dry, patchy bits unless I've overdone it with my retin A. I just don't produce oils like I used to, although sometimes I will get just a tad right here. My skin is absolutely a glue for foundation. I know that there are some people, they feel that foundation either doesn't stay, it doesn't adhere, or their skin eats it. I do not have that problem. My problem is I don't have anything on my lips. What I'm looking for, a good match more than anything. What I like the most for me right now is the Givenchy Prism Libre, because it's a great color. It is not full coverage, but it's a solid medium to light medium coverage. My skin tone I consider to be light medium, neutral. I actually don't have pink undertones. As you can see, like right here, it looks green. Well, sometimes it looks blue. I like going for something neutral, but this is a pink. This is 15 Light R. So let's talk about this. Turn Up the Base Full Beat Waterproof Liquid Foundation. I'm also a little cynical about names, but I will rein it in. Comes in 38 shades. It is a long wear, sweat-proof, waterproof foundation formula, only 16 ingredients that gives full coverage and maximum comfort to visibly blur and smooth without clogging pores. Coverage full, finish matte, formula liquid, highlighted ingredients. These are not skincare ingredients as far as I can tell. L'Oreal, lysine, it's an amino acid that prevents makeup breakdown and provides water and sweat resistance. Alkaline complex, 100% plant-derived emollients replace silicone for a smooth feel. And I find that foundations with a lot of silicone make me feel hot. It's like wearing a wetsuit on my face, so I'm grateful that there's no silicones in here. And rice silk powder, which blurs skin for a soft focus effect. And shake well before using. Pat and press into skin with fingers, sponge, or brush. We're going to do 2 days. I oftentimes do 3, but right now I'm cutting it down to 2. My first day we were using powders, and we're using my favorite foundation brush. And second day is today, and we're using the Beauty Blender. I think most people use this most often. I am a fan of finger application, but I know so many of you are not, that we're throwing that out for this video anyway. And today it's all creams and liquids for my other products until I powdered it. And the first day it is powder products. So we're really gonna throw some stuff at it to see how it behaves with these other products. 2 different sunscreens, and the ingredients, not much. There's things that don't really matter, right? The lysine, the propandiol, the cocoa, something or other. I don't see anything in here that is said to be good for your skin, except for tocopherol down at the bottom, but that's it. So let's get into day 1, and I do come back after 4 hours to day 1 so you can see what's going on, and we're going to cut to that right now. So here I have the fan on pretty loud because it's humid and I'm sweating, but as you can see, I'm dotting the foundation on the face and I'm working it in with my Rever foundation brush. So I have a fan on, you guys. I noticed when I first put it on that I could get full coverage out of this, but I kept on stretching it. And I didn't even add, and you saw I didn't even put a dot right here on my forehead. So the little goes a long way, but it looks quite buildable. Okay, I turned the fan down, but I moved it closer, so you can probably still hear it. I think this looks very, very nice, and I'm really in need of something that will stay on and sweat. So when I think of those, I think of the Fenty, which I think this is my old sample of Fenty. And I've got to figure out what color I used. And this, and the Dior. And I think for those of us in certain age groups, that's kind of important, but it's been on the humid side for us. And so I'm sweating like this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of concealer. This is the Ritual Defeat. I'm just going to do a touch because I look a little crazy. I put on my sunscreen about 20 minutes ago, maybe 15 minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago. I use the Naked Sundays Cabana cream that doesn't leave me too shiny. I don't necessarily feel that I have to powder, but I'm going to do a little bit of powdering, and it is on the warm side, it is on the humid side, so if I have something to report back tomorrow, I will. But the idea is, you know, you get hot, you start sweating, and you wipe it away, especially in the nose region, and you also wipe away your makeup at the same time, which I don't really like that look. Who among us does? And I also feel like this is a very good shade for me. I mean, really good. Let's do a little bit of contouring. I'm going to use the BK Beauty so I don't get this on my foundation brush. So I'm going on with the contour here, and it worked beautifully. I'm yakking, so I took the sound off because I'm yakking about something I started talking about earlier, which I edited out because nobody wants to hear it, but it worked great. Let's go on with a powder blush. This is Armani. And I did powder most of my face right here, so there shouldn't be any issues at all. And no problem, no pulling, no weirdness. It's very, very pretty. I'm going to show you close up what's going on. Skin looks super, super nice, and it is offering me a very solid medium coverage, but I think you can get even more. You might even be able to get less, because I'm not working with a pump, I'm working with a sample. So that's nice. I'm going with this discontinued brush with the YSL bronzer, and see what happens. There's no pulling or dragging or anything odd. No problem at all. Let me just take a look. Super, super nice. So it took to powder beautifully, not only the by Terry powder, but look at my pores. Looks nice. Looks nice. Okay, so here's my final look. Tomorrow we'll do creams and see what happens. But I think it looks great. I think this concealer is too light for me, so it's a little crazy looking, but it is what it is. And that's going to be day 1 application. So far, thumbs up. I did put it on in store yesterday, but I was sweating. I'd just gone for a hike and I ran to the grocery store and I thought, oh, why don't I just run into Sephora? And on this side of my face I wasn't sweating, and on this side of the face I wasn't. So not fantastic under those circumstances. A very few, I don't think any foundation can actually claim that it adheres well if you're sweating. But let's see what happens when I start sweating after I have it on. I have this fan blowing on me, so it has the opportunity to set up and adhere, and I'll let you know what happens tomorrow. So I initially shot around 12, been on for 4 hours. And I was outside for a little bit, but didn't sweat. So sweat test, I may or may not get done today, but I'm very impressed so far. And one more shot. Okay. So I was very, very impressed, you guys. I was impressed with how long it wore, how comfortable it was, considering that it is matte and full coverage. Well, full coverage is usually comfortable, so considering that it's matte. And I also did not feel that it oxidized, which is pretty darn amazing. This is day 2, and let's cut away to that. Welcome to day 2. Yesterday, it looked gorgeous all day long. I didn't sweat. I didn't end up taking Grace out, but I did take a nap, and you saw that footage. It looked fabulous. I was on this side of my face, and it was like this. It didn't transfer to my shirt. I was very, very impressed. I washed my face late, around 11 o'clock, and it was still there. It didn't even seem to have faded. And now that I've read about this, I have to say, I was surprised pleasantly. Usually matte foundations oxidize, because matte foundations have powders in them. You'll see all these things about, oh, it's combining with your oils or your skincare, but in my experience, every matte I have ever tried has oxidized. I think it's not about my skincare, it's not about my oils, it's about the powders that they put in matte foundations, and that did not happen. So I did read about it, and they say that you pat this into the skin as opposed to swipe, what I did here. So pat is what I oftentimes do with this brush. I go like this. But we did brush yesterday. I had a beautiful effect, no complaints anywhere. But today I'm going to use the Beauty Blender, and I'm using a different sunscreen. So this is the Can Make that has a little bit of a white cast, and I'm just going to, as you saw, dab it on my skin and go with the Beauty Blender. And on this side, I think I'll pick it up from my hand rather than dabbing it. I just remembered, I'm just having these horrible memories of a certain YouTuber, well actually there's a couple of them, who would just pump onto their Beauty Blender. Yikes. Now with this application, I feel like I don't think it's full coverage. I think it's really nice coverage. But when I look here, I'm thinking it's pretty darn close. I want you to see this up close. It just doesn't have a cakey look to it. This is a creamy liquid formula. It isn't going to, you see right there? It's not going to drip down the finger, and as you can see, it's not going to drip down the hand either. I'm going to spread this out just a little bit and pick up with the Beauty Blender and try it this way. Now this is also said to be matte. We've already gone over that, right? But I think that really, really depends on what your sunscreen is. My sunscreen today, really shiny. The one I used yesterday, not as shiny. So if you have a sunscreen that you love that isn't shiny at all, let me know. But it has to be non-drying too, because usually, in my experience, the ones that are not shiny, super drying. Australian Gold, I'm looking at you. So, little here, little here, little here, a little here. And for that, I was thinking I might go onto the brush because I think I can stretch better. And I don't necessarily want this to be full coverage so much as I want it to just hide a little bit of redness here. Shiny. This is my sunscreen. I didn't feel that it felt dry the other day, yesterday, when I put this on, but I think also that would depend on your skincare. If you have oily skin and you do the minimal of moisturizer because you can't take all that shine and your skin is always breaking through, I think you're going to be fine. If you're like me and you need something on your lips immediately, going on with my Kopari. As I was saying, if you are like me and your skin is on the dry side, you may find that it's dry if you don't prep well enough. But if you are like me, you probably prep pretty well. I think that color is pretty decent for this foundation, so that's great. And I think it's a really, really good color for me, which is rare. So if you're a shade twin, give it a check. So yesterday we did powders. Today we're going to do liquids and creams. I'm going to start with this lovely little Joy from Westman Atelier. And because I am going to powder the face when we're done with the creams, I'll still get this beautiful sheen. So this sheen is fine for me, but I do want to powder and see what's going on. But this cause and effect little situation here will not change when I powder the face. And then this color also is pink, so it should look very, very natural. So pretty. This is a mini of Westman Atelier. They have this in a large size, but I like the minis because this is a natural brand and I have a lot of makeup, so natural brands tend to not last as long, especially creams and liquids. And when you have a lot of makeup, you don't use things as often, and I love this color. A little here. I think I'm just going to put that on my hand and pick it up with a beauty blender. And you know what? If you want to, because I still have some of this on my hand, you could mix them together. And you know what? I am going to mix them together for the eyes. Everything looks great. Nothing has picked up, and the blend is just gorgeous on both sides. Very, very nice. Let's see about a bronzer that is liquid. Jones Road, one's too light, one's too dark, so shake them up and don't do that. If you're new here, I drop things. I'm really going to thin this out because it is dark and I want to pick up really evenly. Wish me luck. Boom, 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 boom. I find making sounds when I'm doing my makeup is incredibly important. If you have excess, take that off on a part of your hand where you don't have any. Great way to make sure you don't over apply, especially when you're doing a color that's a bit deep. I think you can do deep colors for bronzer as long as you don't put too much on. Again, I'm going to bring you in. Beautiful, beautiful blend. While I was looking for that, I found this. This is from Victoria Beckham. So I think I did the Dior yesterday's video. I'm going to do some on the eyes. Whoops. Okay, well, we'll fix that. So this is a Rever 37 as opposed to a foundation brush. It feels a little too much. I'm just going to blend it out with a beauty blender. So let's go over what they're saying and what my feelings are about it. They're not really saying much. It's long wear, waterproof, sweat-proof foundation. 15 ingredients, full coverage, maximum comfort. And where's the pores? Let's look at the pores. What pores? Where'd the pores go? Now, I didn't powder the entire face, and again, I will say one more time, your sunscreen matters. Your sunscreen will change what it looks like. I don't really like a matte, but I know that I can get a matte out of this if I have a matte sunscreen that I don't hate. But I think the pores do look beautiful, so I'm going to say check. Long wearing, absolutely. Sweat proof, I cannot say. I did not sweat yesterday, although, as you saw, I did sweat a little bit today as I was putting on my makeup. And I sat in front of a fan for a little bit to help that out. And I will come back after my conclusions if I actually get a sweat on for today. It worked well with powders, beautifully with powders, worked well with creams and with liquids. I had absolutely no problems with this at all, none. If you have very dry skin and you don't prep properly, it's not going to be a happy experience for you, but I do have dry skin. I do prep properly, and I will say that my sunscreen today, the Can Make, isn't moisturizing. It's a gel, where many of my sunscreens are moisturizing, and I don't feel uncomfortable. So I think this is actually a beautiful surprise. This year, I think I met, I'll have to think about it, but I think I met 3 foundations that I really, really love. Now, the one foundation I would compare it to is the Fenty, and I don't remember what color this was, but I was using this quite a bit. I do wish that this had come out, you know, in March before the summertime, because there were so many times, and we just had a heat wave a couple of weeks ago, but there were so many times when I felt like I wish I had something that I can wear that is sweat proof, because I just can't help. My body is very efficient at cooling itself down, and I cannot help this sweat. And you do this to wipe your sweat away, and there goes your makeup. And the Dior Face and Body, which I own, isn't a good color for me. So that is something, you know, I wish. It doesn't change my review at all, which is, if you live in a humid area, if you need something that is waterproof or sweat proof, if you live somewhere where it rains a lot and you don't want to have the raindrops hitting your head for some reason, and then there's this mark, like after you cry, and you have this line of where your foundation's washed away, this is fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about this. It's absolutely lovely, and it's on my wish list. I might possibly wait until next spring when the humidity starts for us. I know if you live in some place like the South, for instance, you think our humidity is laughable, but I sweat. I sweat. And if it's not too hot and it is humid, I'm going to be sweating, and I do want to protect myself from that. Let me know if you want me to do a head-to-head with the Fenty versus the one size, and I will. That might be an interesting test to see what's going to work better, and I will go out for a hike and get myself sweaty and come back and see what it looks like. Let me know if that sounds interesting to you, and I will be right on that. And that's going to wrap up today's video, you guys. I really hope it was helpful so you can make the right decisions for your buying. The Sephora sale is coming up, and it might be something you put on your wish list. And the other thing I tried this year that I was super impressed with, and they finally expanded their color range, is Bobbi Brown, who was super famous for yellow foundations, and now there's a couple of cool ones. And I can't remember what it was called, but I'll post that video right here. And that was so beautiful. It looked like nothing on the skin. And wasn't full coverage, but it was enough to even everything out. Those are the 3 foundations I was super impressed with this year. All right, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope it was helpful. I hope you come back again. And until we meet again, be safe, be smart. I'm wishing you good health. And thanks for your patience and for your support and not abandoning me. I'm not abandoning you. This is something that is beyond my control, and I'm looking forward to the time when I can be back here 3 times a week, bringing it all to you and doing it right after release. All right, until the next time, bye.